If you remember pronouns from the previous lessons, these are words like me, vi, li, she, ji, which translates to I, you, he, she, and it. But the pronoun si is a reflexive pronoun, and it's also a third-person pronoun, just like li, she, ji, and ili. And this pronoun si is always going to refer to the subject of a sentence. So the pronoun si is never going to be the subject of a sentence, but it'll always represent a third-person subject. This sounds a little bit confusing, but after a few examples, I think you'll be able to understand how it's used. The first example is li accetis libron por si. This means he bought a book for himself. You might be wondering why you wouldn't just say li accetis libron por li, but if you replace si with li and say li accetis libron por li, this translates to he bought a book for him. And him is always going to be another person apart from the subject, because if we want to talk about the subject, the person who is buying the book, we would have to use the pronoun si. Another example is She manĝas sian pomon. Remember that we can add the letter a to any pronoun to make it possessive. And we added the letter no to sia and pomo because it's the direct object of the sentence. It's the thing that's being eaten. So, she manĝas sian pomon means she eats her apple. And this means that she eats her own apple, not anyone else's. So if we said she manĝas ŝian pomon instead, this would mean she eats her apple, but it's another person's apple. Another example is la kato vidis sin. The cat saw itself. And another example, ili estas en sia domo. They are in their own house. If we said ili estas en ilia domo, that would mean they are in their house, but they would be in the house of other people, not their own house. And the last example with si is Ŝi vidas siajn hundojn. She sees her own dogs. If we said Ŝi vidas ŝiajn hundojn, that would mean she sees her dogs, and the dogs would belong to another person. Now, you can't just always use the pronoun si to refer to the subject of the sentence. It wouldn't really make sense to use it if the subject is me, vi, or ni, because you could just use those pronouns and it would not be ambiguous at all. The pronoun si is only used for third-person pronouns because they're more ambiguous. You don't know if his dog is his own dog or his dog meaning another person's dog. But you do know that if I'm talking about your dog, there's absolutely no question about whose dog I'm speaking about.